What's going on, YouTube? This is Johnny. I'm still in Lima. I published a video just a few minutes ago on a bank scandal in Mexico. The institution's called Monex, and from my little research I've done, it sounds like the bank had some fraud going on with one of their bankers. I think it was like 40 million was looted from the accounts. And the way the bank or the financial institution is handling the depositors' losses is not like what you would be used to in a first world country. So this video, sorry about the focus there, this video is going to be on how to handle your money overseas and not lose it, some of the pitfalls of banking offshore. For the first thing, if you're moving to a developing world, my recommendation is to keep a small local account, like in dollars and the local currencies. Just as an example, in Mexico, well, I won't comment about Mexico, but in Guatemala and Central America, most countries, you can have an account in US dollars and then a local account. So, for example, in Guatemala, you can have an account in quetzales and dollars, and keep the larger amount in dollars and then transfer what you need every month to your quetzale account. Excuse me. The second observation I'd make is don't keep the mother lode or all your money there. In general, I prefer common law countries to keep your money. An example would be like the UK or the tax havens that the UK has, or Singapore, in the past Hong Kong, but not anymore. Countries like that. In Latin America, the legal system is not common law, and it's a little different. So if you're not used to it, you don't know what you're dealing with, don't put your life savings. If you're going to put a large deposit in a Latin country, I would only recommend you do that with a corporate account. The reason is corporate accounts are treated a little bit differently, rightly or wrongly. This is just my opinion. I'm not giving legal advice, but you can do things with corporate accounts you can't do with an individual account. And you can wire your money, in my experience anyways, you can wire in and out of places lickety split fast. And if you're a corporate client, you get treated a lot better. You won't be messed around with as much as if it's just a small personal account. So in that case, maybe you have part of your mother lode in a corporate account and then a smaller amount in a personal account. Even then, mainly keep your large amounts of money in the United States or Canada or whatever country you're coming from. But basically common law countries where you're used to dealing with English common law, so you know what to expect if there's any problems, because the rule of law is totally different in Latin America than it is in English-speaking common law countries. That's basically it. What happens is a lot of people, they get rose-colored glasses when they go to Latin America, and they sell everything up, lock, stock, and barrel, like their home, redeposit their mother lode in a Latin bank. And just here's an example. Sovereign Man, I'm not a big fan of Sovereign Man. I don't really want to badmouth him, but in the past, just as an example, in the past, like when a person like Sovereign Man or a famous financial advisor would recommend a Swiss bank, you may not know this, but he would suggest a Swiss bank, and then if the client deposits money, they would get part of that deposit, like 0.5% or 1% of the deposit as a finder's fee. Well, Latin banks do that too. Sovereign Man suggested a bank in Ecuador, and that financial institution went bankrupt. I know a few people lost $30,000, $40,000 that way, and he got his kickback. Sovereign Man, I don't want to badmouth him too much, but the problem with what he did is not that he got a finder's fee, but the fact that he didn't disclose it. In my understanding, he did not disclose the fact that he took a finder's fee, and he suggested people put money in a really small bank, like basically a savings and loan in the U.S., where they pay 12%, I think, or between 8 and 12% in dollars. In Ecuador, they use dollars as they do in Panama or Ecuador, Panama. I'm trying to think, and then there's a few others I forget. Anyways, so if you're going to keep money in Latin America or in Asia, in my opinion, keep the amount small and keep the amounts in what I call a high street bank, a big bank. Don't put them in small banks. Put it in a big bank that has wiring services, is used to wiring money all over the world, and is used to receiving money or bank wires from all over the world. A very large bank, a bank that's in every country in Latin America and in the Philippines too. There's 2 or 3 large banks that the wealthy elite own, and they keep their own deposits there. Those banks are very unlikely to wander, and if they were to be a financial crisis, they will be the first banks to be bailed out. And like I said, if you have a corporate account there, your lawyer will tell you months in advance if something like that's happening to move your money somewhere else or to wire it out of the country or whatever. So those are my thoughts on that. My problem is some gringos sell their homes for 200,000 or 300,000 or whatever. They have rose-colored glasses, and then they take the money to Latin America, and then they hang on an expat bar and get a recommendation for a bank that's not that great, not what I would call a high street bank or AAA bank, and they do that because of a high rate of return. The banks I'm talking about, that I would suggest, they don't even hardly pay you a return, but at least your money's safe, at least for right now. Who knows when the next economic crisis, if that will change. But anyways, that's why I suggest I don't deposit money in really small, dinky banks. If you do, make sure it's money you can afford to lose, and stay away from the high interest bank accounts, because those banks usually get those high rates from loans in Latin America, which are hugely illiquid. And when the next economic crisis comes, those small banks go under. It's very predictable. It happens quite frequently. Tonight we're drinking some Cristal, which I like. I get a little bit of flack for drinking it. Anyways, so that's how I'd handle money. Just U.S. dollar accounts. Mainly keep your money in U.S. dollar accounts, and then transfer your monthly expenses into your local currency account, and then withdraw with an ATM card. And if you're going to have a larger deposits, keep them offshore outside of Latin America, like an English-speaking Commonwealth country. Excuse me. Or if you have to keep large amounts, keep it in a corporate account, and have a good relationship with your lawyer and an accountant. They can recommend the main banks that are very trustworthy, have never had a problem in 50 or 100 years. Anyways, that's how I'd handle money and things like that. So be safe if you're going to come down here. Excuse me. Don't deposit your life savings if you don't understand the legal system here. Most gringos, I don't think, really do. That's where they run into trouble. They trust too many expats they don't really know too well, and they trust bankers and lawyers and accountants they have no references from, that they don't know really well. And this Monex thing is not exactly the perfect example, but it's kind of an example where expats all trust each other, listen, and then they deposit the money, and then who knows how long it'll take for them to get the deposits back. Some of them got their deposits back right away. That's another thing. When you're in a first world country and you have bank deposit insurance, you usually get your money back in hours or days. You don't have to wait 6 months or 2 years like what happened in the Philippines with people I know. And those are, you only got money back up to $5,000, which when that happened, the deposit insurance was up to $5,000. The rest of their money they just lost. And then the people I know in Ecuador, I don't know if they got any back. I don't think they got anything back, but I might be wrong. But they had $30,000-$40,000 deposited, and they just lost it based on a recommendation from Sovereign Man, which he got a kickback from, which I'm not against, but he should have disclosed that. And when you realize someone's getting a kickback, be cautious. Just be cautious. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. I don't know why, but I'm having some technical difficulties with my microphone, so the audio isn't that great. So anyways, I understand that. Anyways, thank you.